It's time for an FJ fix. We've told you before, not all 50-yard shots are the same. And this one is a little bit different. This shot here is 50 yards, but over half of it is really on the green. This whole location's all the way in the back. Now, I've showed you before about hitting this shot with a 58-degree wedge. Now what I want to do is I want to take some spin out. And the reason why I want spin out is I don't want to have to fly it all the way back there and allow for this ball to come back to me. What I want is I want this to come in a little bit low, take one bounce, and stop. And the way I'm doing that is by shifting clubs. I'm going to my 54-degree wedge. And as I go to this 54-degree wedge, now I'm starting to see a little bit more of a penetrating shot, and I'm trying to carry this shot to about 45 yards. The 50 yards is the maximum. I don't want this to go 50 yards. In my mind, I'm thinking 48, maybe 49. I'm not going 50. And I know, again, you're going to hear through this little wedge thing that we're talking about, you've got to think like the best in order to become better. So a simple thing. So you sit there and you go, okay, 48 to 49 yard shot. Here, I'm visualizing the shot. I'm seeing the trajectory of the shot. That was perfect. I just didn't put it into the area for it to get hit. Make sure it's in there. Okay, now let's try that again. Already got one 48-yard shot. See if we can get two in a row. And, okay, so I flew that right at 50. So I missed that by just a little bit. But what you noticed about that shot is after it hit, and it landed at 50.3. It released 6 feet. My spin rate was at 6,400. That's a really big number. My apex is at 27. My launch condition right there about 29.5. So as I start to look at what my 54-degree wedge is doing, I'm now starting to factor in, okay, so just a normal little shot for me when I'm just hitting 50, I'm going to get about 2 feet of rollout. That's why I was saying I was trying to get it to 48, because that 2 feet of rollout is going to get me at 50. I don't want this thing to get past 50. That's not what I'm doing. I've got myself a different putt here. I don't want that putt that I just got. Even though it's only about 6 or 7 feet, that's not the putt that I want. I want this putt to be underneath the hole. Now, how do I start to hit this shot? Well, one of the things that you're going to notice is I'm going to grip down on this club. I'm going to make sure that I make it a little bit shorter. So as I get in here and I make it a little shorter, now I'm a little bit more on top of it. And when I'm a little bit more on top of this ball, now what's going to happen is the steepness of the angle of approach is going to help take some spin out. So I grip down on that. Now I'm kind of on top of this here. And now I've hit that shot there. And what you're going to see is, because I'm not going to let that get past that hole, that one there is going to roll out about 2 feet again. That's that one bounce and stop shot that I'm hitting. And by gripping down, all it does is remind me to get a little closer to this shot. And by getting a little closer, I create that steeper angle of approach, which takes some spin out. That one there was at 6,200. And what you're going to notice with all these shots is they're going to be right around 6,000 to 6,500. That's what I'm going to get. And at that number, I'll get one bounce and then a stop. Okay? So in here again. There's my shot again. Oh, I like this one a lot. There's the one bounce, and there's the stop. That one flew to about 47 and rolled out to about 48. So I'm getting exactly what I want there. What I want you to understand is when you're hitting this shot, this again goes back to the body. I want you to feel like you're hitting this with your chest. So the image that you're getting here is that you're going to turn your chest back to about a 45-degree angle right to here, just like that. And then you're coming through and making sure that you're facing the target. When I get to where I go 45 and then over, I should get about 50 yards. That thing carried at about 48.7. So I know that with this particular club, when I turn to about 45 or what feels 45 for me, and then go through without any added extra, I don't have to give it anything extra, I'm going to get about 48 yards out of that shot, 49 yards, right around that 50 number. Now, the other thing that you have to do is when you're coming through to hit that shot, I want you to feel as your chest is rotating through that your shoulders are pretty much coming through level. I don't want you to feel like you're going to add side bend here. I don't want any of that, because what happens when you do that is now you're going to start to shallow the club out. Side bend creates a shallow, and when you start to get a little bit of shallow, trajectory goes up into the air. So my vertical launch on that was 28.4. My apex was 24. Now watch what happens when I do this, and I'm going to just add side bend to this shot. Watch what happens to this shot here. Same thing. I'm going to get 45. And then side bend. Now, that one there went a lot farther than I wanted. It had a little bit more stop to it, but my apex there was 32 feet instead of 24, and my launch was 34.7. Come on up here. I won't tell you about it. Let's take a peek at it. You can see right here the vertical launch is about 35 degrees. I was right at about 29 before. So by adding that side bend, that took the ball up into the air. And though I had less backspin because I hit the ground first, it still stopped because my descent angle was a little bit steeper, and so it was a little bit softer. That flew to 49.6, and it rolled out about a half a foot. And so what we end up getting is, or a half a yard rather, what we end up getting there is an uncontrolled distance. We don't know exactly how far it's going to fly. We don't know exactly how it's going to react on the green. I want that ball to release. I don't want that ball to just hit and stop like that. I want to take I want it to skip. I want 6 feet out of this from where it lands to where it stops. And so as you're coming through that shot, your chest is rotating through, and you're almost feeling like you're like this with your body coming through the shot. So in other words, the upper part of my spine is almost in front of the lower part of the spine. It won't be that way, but that's what it's going to feel like. And so that shot right there went 51.5, and it rolled out to 53.5. There's my 2 yards of roll. That's what I'm trying to get. So what I'm telling you to do is this. Understand that when you have certain hole locations, we want to hit a certain type of shot. Back hole locations, I want to land it in front of it, and I want it to roll up to it. I'm doing that with a 53 or 54 degree wedge. It's not my lob wedge. It's my next wedge. And what I'm doing when I hit that is making sure that my body is rotating through the shot. I don't have a tremendous amount of arm and hand activity in that. I'm using my 45 degree turn in the shoulder in the backswing. I'm coming through that just like that in the through swing. It comes up just short of the flag, which is excellent right there, and it rolls out about 2 feet. Now, in order for you to be able to get good at these various shots, you've got to get out there and practice. What I see so many of you do is just grab one wedge and stand there and hit those shots the same after the same after the same all day long, not really having an idea of what you're trying to do. Here's what I recommend. Get yourself a little towel, go out to the short game area, put the towel out there at a certain number, make sure you pace it off so you have an understanding of what's going on, and then hit some shots and vary it. Make sure you use this 54 degree wedge or a 53 degree wedge. If you have a 56, use that if that's your second wedge. But understand how you can hit that little flighted shot where it lands on the green and then it releases just a little bit. And know what your stock number is so that you have an idea when you get out into the playing conditions how you can perform, because not every 50-yard shot is going to be the exact same. Hole location is going to be a big part of it. In the front, in the back, in the middle, whatever it may be. That is an FJ Fix. To improve all parts of your game, subscribe to my channel and click the link below.